Good morning. It's Thursday, March 9th, 2023. The distant future. If we were this many years away from the year 2000 in the other direction, I would only be like 7 years old. Feels like 1980 was like 10 or 20 years ago. Very strange. Anyway, I didn't make a video yesterday because it was Wednesday and I was working remotely. Should I take the highways? Yeah, I think I should. Oops. Oh, can't. Would have cut that guy off. Indecision. So, I think most normal people would have just cut over and like squeezed that guy out. I'm not a normal person. Anyway, so yeah, what was I on about? Didn't make a video yesterday. I made a video the day before. So one Tuesday, when I was driving home, I think I only made like one video that I posted. I made two. I didn't post the second one. It was me and my subscriber chatting at length about different things, and I sounded a lot like a pompous ass, and I didn't like it, so I didn't post it. There's other reasons I didn't post it, but that's the main one. But that being said, on Tuesday when I was driving home, and this isn't the first time this has happened recently, I don't know why it keeps happening, but for some reason I don't pay attention to my fuel gauge, I guess. I look at it a couple times a week, and I keep forgetting how long my commute is. Anyway, on the way home yesterday, after I was done recording the second video, which I did not post, I realized that I was out of gas. I was like the little thing on the dashboard. Once you're under 30, it's just 3 dashes, so it was definitely in the 3 dash range. And when I looked down at the actual needle, it was well below E, like it was beyond the hash marks. I was literally flying on fumes. So this is a 2018 Saturn. No, it's not. It's a 2018 Saturn? No, not a Saturn. A Subaru Outback. A Subaru Outback has an 18-gallon tank. When I realized I needed gas, fortunately I was relatively close to a gas station, so I pulled into a giant gas station on 100. I didn't want to risk going all the way up to the Wawa, and I filled the tank, and it took 17.8 gallons. So I must have been literally driving on the fumes that were left in the tubes that feed the engine. That I think, other than one time when I literally ran out of gas and coasted into a gas station, that's the closest I've come to running out of gas. I don't think I've ever run out of gas and had to call someone or walk to a gas station. But I've been close several times, and that was one of the closest, but not the closest I've come to running out of gas. I guess what annoys me, and I've talked about this before, is that if you don't put your seatbelt on, the car will not stop making noises. It just ding, 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 dings forever and ever because you don't have your seatbelt on. And if you have something heavy on the passenger seat, the same thing happens. Unless you clip the seatbelt, the car will keep saying you've got to put your seatbelt on. I get that it's a safety thing, but I'd just rather disconnect that. Some cars, you get into them and you don't even have to be in gear. You can be in park and sitting in the car, and the frickin' seatbelt thing goes on. It's not. Again, I understand that seatbelts are safety equipment, and probably some people, the only reason they're putting them on is to stop that dinging from happening. But what I don't understand is, if you're driving around with your emergency brake on, you get a little light, tiny little dim light on your dashboard saying your emergency brake's on. And conversely, but also, like if you're out of gas, like I think you might get. I think there's one beep that happens, and I've missed it the past couple of times. Obviously, you should be checking your instruments, and you should be aware of like your temperature, your speed, your altitude, horizon. But the fact that there's no alarm whistles telling you you're about to run out of gas, like, something saying you've got less than 10 miles, like, just like, instead it just goes to dashes where it doesn't even give you a clue as to how much gas you have left, and then what will happen is your car will just stop. I think it's more important to know your emergency brakes are on and or you're out of gas than it is to let me know I don't have my seatbelt on. That's just me, and that's probably because I have a tendency to drive with my emergency brake on and run out of gas. Where am I? I think we're like, I think this weekend is either daylight saving time or the end of daylight saving time. I can't remember. Either way, I think it's this weekend, and you push the clocks forward an hour, and I'm not mentally prepared for it. I don't want to do it. I don't want to have anything to do with it. I want to know who's getting rich off this scam, and I want to know how. I think we've debunked the farmers thing. I think we know, as a society, it has nothing to do with farmers. They farm by the light of day. They don't care about clocks. Just don't know why we do it. Why we continue to do it. There's a couple of places that don't. I think Arizona doesn't do it. I'm not entirely sure, and that's got to be weird. I think there's a place in the world that's offset by a half an hour. Weird time things. To look that up. Like it's like literally never the same time there as anywhere else because they're like off by a half hour increment. It's also cold again today. I think it's going to be cold for the foreseeable future. 30s and 40s. At least a day or two ago when I was looking at the 10-day forecast, the lows were in the 20s and 30s, and the highs were in the 40s at best. And I don't like that. I think I've mentioned that quite a few times. I want to move to a warmer climate, but I'm thinking, unless I do something really horrible at work, that's at least 10 years away. I've wanted to move to Arizona. I think I mentioned that, Nevada, Arizona, like that whole southwesty thing. Recently, they had very cold weather there too, snowfall and such. I don't know. With the way the world is, maybe I should save my pennies a couple of years more and just buy myself an island. Because the world's going nuts. At least if you watch the news, it seems as though the world's going nuts. And if you go out in it, you walk around in it, you will see that the world is nuts. My old stomping ground, Philadelphia, I was there relatively recently, and just so weird to see all the zombies wandering the streets. Not exactly sure what drug it is that's turning everybody into zombies, but there's a lot of them out there. And I guess there's a lot of reasons we moved out to the suburbs. One of them, most prominent reason was, of course, school districts and stuff like that, but we also liked the idea that it was out in Hickville, less crime, blah, blah, blah. There was, but it's really starting to spike. There's been an unbelievable influx of people into the area. Like they're doing the same thing, kind of a mirror of what they're doing in Philadelphia. There's just houses sprouting up everywhere. And I often wonder, like, the same thing I wonder about, like, Fishtown in Philadelphia. Like, I don't even know how they do it. They must have added another dimension to reality, because the amount of houses that have sprung up that they've built there, it's incredible. Like, they just have apartments on top of apartments, like narrow houses. Like, there's just, like, the parking situation is completely untenable. Like, I can't. It was bad parking when, like, half the block was just houses, and the other half was like a bakery, supply store, or something like that. So, half the block wasn't residential. Like this one particular block I'm talking about, and I know there's a lot of places like that, but now they've replaced a lot of those places that weren't residential with tons and tons of residential. So parking was really, really bad before. Now it's super bad. Like I have to go to town because I have properties in Fishtown and Philadelphia, and so parking is a nightmare if you have to go there for any reason. But the other thing I wonder, the same thing I wonder about the town I live in now, is there? I guess what I'm wondering is the infrastructure, like the water, the electric, the sewer especially. Can it support what seems to be exponential rate of growth of people using the services? One of my properties a couple years ago, the sewer went as like an expensive nightmare, sewage backing into the basement, and I had to have that fixed. And it's an old house, it's like the 1860s, but you have to wonder if some of that is due to the fact that there's just so much we're leaning on the utilities so much more, the sewer, the gas, the water. That many people using water, I have to imagine that they have to increase the water pressure so people have, because if you have more people using water at the same time, doesn't it weaknesses? I don't know. I may be overthinking it. There may not be a problem. Maybe you can have infinite growth and everything's fine. I wonder about these things. Do I stop for a Dunkin' Donuts coffee? I haven't had one in literally weeks. Do I have my wallet? Yes. I think I will stop for Dunkin' Donuts. Maybe it'll get my mind off of whatever I'm rambling about. It doesn't seem to have any kind of cohesive point. Just sounds like complaining to me is really what it sounds like, but just talking and thinking out loud. Pardon me.
How can I help you?
A large black coffee, please.
Will that be on?
That's it.
Would you like that hot or ready?
Hot, please.
Alright, pull around.
Okay. Okay. Very much. Okay. You too. Is that a reasonable question? Not to be sounding like I'm continuing to complain, but if I go to the drive-thru and I ask for a large black coffee, do you assume it's hot? I mean, it seems like hot is the default temperature of coffee. Iced coffee is a thing. It's a whole separate thing. Like, if you wanted it to be, if you asked for a large black coffee and you got a hot cup of coffee and you're expecting iced coffee, aren't you a crazy person for not asking for a large black iced coffee? Maybe I don't enunciate well. Maybe they thought maybe I wanted iced coffee. That's the other thing. It's always different people. A lot of these places, and I know maybe Dunkin' Donuts isn't a career choice, but I remember. See, that's the difference, though. At McDonald's, it's been the same people working at McDonald's for a very long time. But this Dunkin' Donuts seems to have an incredible amount of turnover. It just seems like it's always different people. I mean, not every day, but there has been a lot of turnover. Like, since the last time I was there, there's different people there today. And I realize there are maybe people that are working different shifts, but I've never seen these people before. Do I turn? I made pretty good time. It's tough. I'm going to make it to work on time if I take the back roads, but I'm not going to get there as early as I want to. But I don't want to keep wasting money paying all those tolls and going the extra mileage. Taking the highway is longer, not longer. It's quicker, but it's more miles and it's tolls. Taking what I call the back roads is less miles, less tolls, but let's say it takes about 20 minutes longer. I still never figured out how much it costs in tolls to go back and forth to work. I really should look at that. Because time is money. So it's day 4 or 5 of the sauerkraut experiment. I know it's not the food; it's more of a condiment. But anyway, I made myself a bowl of it. I had some yesterday. It was delicious. I also made myself a little Tupperware container of it to take to work with me today, with all the other stuff I normally throw into my lunch bag. So it's just very, very tasty. I haven't refrigerated it yet, so both of them are up to a 4-day fermentation, and they've turned out pretty good. They're surprisingly crisp and crunchy now, but they also have that nice sauerkraut sourness. So very pleased with the results so far, and I think I've already eaten half of one of the jars that I made. Because you got to keep taste testing. I may throw out the top leaves today because they're a little they're a lot. They're getting a little raggedy from all the crushing with the olive jar and sitting basically on top of the anaerobic environment. They're not looking so healthy. Not moldy or anything like that. Just wilty, like lettuce after you throw vinegar on it. So, update on the gout situation. I've still got it. My left foot, like right now, I'm driving to work barefoot. I'm wearing socks, but my shoes are on the passenger side, on the floor on the passenger side. I don't know why I was going to say passenger seat side. But anyway, on the passenger side is where my shoes are because it hurts to wear them. So I'll probably be doing the same thing when I get to work today. I'll put my shoes on to go into work, and then I'll take them off once I get to my cube. It's better. It's better than it was, but it's still a ridiculously long time to be going through this. I wish I had grabbed. I had intended to grab a bottle of water. It's hard. Like I'm rushed in the morning, and I want to make sure I have enough to get me through the day. I don't take a lunch. I graze throughout the day, so I pack a lot of stuff. Like I've got a sandwich baggie full of nuts. I've got I forgot to grab a breakfast bar, like a chocolatey granola breakfast bar. It's usually in there, not today. I've got a ceramic bowl with a rubber top. I have oatmeal at work, but since I was packing a bowl, I just threw some oatmeal from home in there to make my work supply of oatmeal last longer. I usually fill that with water and nuke it for 2 minutes. What's I got? A peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I've got a potato that I'm going to heat up. Yogurt. Like I said, the sauerkraut that I made. Is that it? Is that all that's in there? I feel like I'm forgetting some little. I save those Frappuccino bottles or cold brew Starbucks coffee things. I had like a few of them, and I've got the bottles here. So anyway, got one of those filled with milk, another one filled with orange juice. I think I already mentioned yogurt. I think that's everything. It sounds light. It sounds like a light lunch. Oh, no. A Tupperware container full of vegetables. Radishes, celery, carrots, and little cherry tomatoes. I think that's everything. And I graze on that throughout the day. So I don't really take a lunch. The people in the cubes around me, or specifically one person in the cube around me, often makes fun of what I'm eating because my vegetable thing, like I don't make a salad, I make just chopped up vegetables, and they're very crunchy, and they often ask me, look, what are you eating today? It's radishes or carrots. Like she tries to identify what I'm eating. Like if I've purchased peppers, I'll also like chop up peppers in my lunch, bell pepper kind of thing. But anyway, my food is noisy, some of it. Less than 30 seconds left in the first 22-minute installment. I don't know if I'm going to make 3 of these today. I really had nothing to talk about for the first one. I'm kind of tired. I didn't get to bed until very late last night, so I don't know. It's completely my fault. I think I was doom scrolling Facebook. I'll be back in a minute. I'll start a second one.